Hola, hola. Vamos a ver cómo andamos aquí para invitar también a mi querida a Natalie. Hola, hola. Hello. Natalie.
Ah, no, otra vez ya está.
Hello. Hello, Natalie.
Hi,
Hello. We are going to do this one in English, right?
we are. Well, we have an online English spoken workshop course training, which we have not subtitled, which is very important because it's so many hours. It's like 24 hours. And so my cousin showed up. Hi, Christina. This live is actually in English, so you're gonna take advantage. We were just saying that this live is really in English because we have the online workshop, which is it's a training called the Tao of Healing Love, and it's about the Taoist version of the sacred erotic arts, which is sexual and emotional alchemy. So it's the different practices and different exercises and philosophies and all the information going along in the Taoist tradition on how to improve the quality of the energy from the lower based emotions and sexuality into a more higher realm, into a more sacred and beautiful experience, so that one can be more connected to the universe, the divine. It's like a pathway to have a beautiful mystical experience and unite with the one or the divine or God or
However,
the mystic dimension.
wants to read it.
So we have this workshop in Spanish. Yesterday we did a live in Spanish, and today we thought that we might just as well do the whole thing again in a shorter version in English. So this is Jerónimo. This is our teacher.
Nice to see you, to be in contact with you, I guess.
Yes. So maybe we can start off by giving like a little bit of context why this workshop or this kind of training or this kind of informations and formations are so necessary in today's age, or actually in every age of humanity, but since we are in this day and age, it's so important. So I'll just maybe like give a context and then you can continue from there, Jerónimo.
Yes.
So, we are, as we probably all have figured out by now, we are living in times where everything is becoming, fast food and fast and furious and very new age, and not everything is deeply rooted in ancestral, in the ancestral wisdom and knowledge that has been going on for millennia in all sorts of subjects, in nutrition and in ceremonies and in health and in everything. But especially in sexuality, there has been such a poor educational system, not only in schools, but because in schools, I mean, even if they had more hours of sexual education, it still is abording the sexual education from a perspective of a very limited way that humanity functions nowadays. But it isn't really the study or the education of what's the potential of a human sexuality, which is conscious and at its peak. It's not studying like the full potential. So even though there would have been more sexual educational hours in school, it would still represent a very limited perspective. So because of this, there's pornography and pathologies and dysfunctions and, different problems that come out of dysfunctional sexuality, like hypersexuality, the need of attention, each time requiring a sexuality which is far more stimulation and actually becomes pathological because it's not healthy for the body and all of this kind of things. So, like, just from that context, maybe Jeronimo, you want to give a perspective of what's the difference between like the Taoist version and how is this workshop structured according to your experience also as a sexologist, not only as a Taoist. And so, yeah.
Yes, thank you, dear Natalie. Well, yes, actually, one of the main differences that I can tell about between the perspective in the Western sexology is that there has been many studies on how is the sexual behavior of most of people according to different studies. But the main difference between the Taoist sexology is that these ancient wise men and women, they learned how to use the sexual energy not just for being healthy, but to keep youth in much longer periods of time, because these teachers, they live very long lives, but with a complete, not just very healthy, but with youth. And another difference is that we can reach these states of mind that we can refer as states of enlightenment, we could say, thanks to these states of ecstasy. The ecstasy is not very understood here in the Western culture as much as it is in the East, because there, since the meditation is something that is more has been more inherent to these cultures, learning how to use these breathing techniques and the circulation of the energy through the acupuncture channels, then we can transform the sexual energy, which is like the lead. We call it in the alchemy terminology, we can say that the lead, which is the most heavy and dense metal, is the sexual energy. But it doesn't mean that it's bad or evil or a sin, as in many religions they teach us under their perspective. But instead of that, these ancient wise men and women, they discovered that this energy, it is very dense and heavy, but it's thanks to that energy that life exists, because we cannot speak about life without saying, well, where does life comes from? Well, it comes from sexual cells. So under this perspective, the sexual energy is sacred, because that's the energy that can moves all things in nature and in the universe. So, but this energy can be transformed when we just makes the circulation of this sexual energy to the heart. When we mix the sexual arousal with love, and we have to understand that love is for ourselves first. We cannot love someone else if we don't love ourselves first. In order to, that means that we cannot give something that we don't have in ourselves. So this is a different perspective, because in this culture, loving yourself sometimes it is taken as selfishness. But in the Tao perspective is the sacred selfishness in that case, because if I want to heal somebody, well, I have to start by healing myself. If I want to help someone else, the first person that I have to help is myself, because as I say, there's no way that I can give something that I don't have in myself first. So that's why the love for myself, for all my cells, for all my organs. That's why we have practices in order to do that and to activate the parasympathetic system, which is the one that allowed us to be relaxed and to to have this sexual, or we can say better, erotic, loving, and spiritual experience, thanks to this inner structure that we study in the Tao. In such a way that when this lead energy, that it's the very heavy energy, can reach the heart, and then I love the person that in which I have this sexual arousal, then of course the experience is very different than just having sex.
And also, just to clarify this point, because of course in these modern times, with all of these, you know, apps and Tinders and things like this, which is growing. I mean, in Mexico, it's quite big also, and it's not that big like in Europe. In Europe, it's even worse, or in America, like in the States, it's even, you know, a more pop culture. It's far more spread out, this like app dating culture. And so this, like having sexual intercourse with somebody that you perhaps just met, or, you know, maybe won't see again, or you're not like, you know, you're not in love with them, like you don't want to have maybe, or you're not sure that you want to have a relationship with them. It's not, let's say, a serious matter, or what people call casual sex, like, but even in those sexual encounters, that's what the ability, what you're talking about, of being able to open your heart and
even in those
and love and experience love. So it's not just genitalized, vulgar, you know, just get it over and done with casual sex. That is very basic. It's actually bringing it and being able to open the heart, even though you'll never see the person again, but still to make it a loving experience full of heart energy as well as sexual energy, right? So that's just wanted to clarify this. Yeah.
Yes, and then what happens is that to tell about this in a symbolic way, it's what it is called the green dragon phenomena. In Mexico we call it Quetzalcoatl, which is the winged serpent, no?
The feathered serpent.
Yeah. Or the Mayans they call it Kukulkan, or the Incas Viracocha, which is the sexual energy, which is the energy which is in the organ that is closest to the earth, which is, that's why it's the heaviest. And then the serpent always has been representing the sexual energy, the Kundalini energy. It is called the fire serpent. Then when it's not repressed, because then it's when this serpent, it's like getting lack of oxygen, it's getting suffocated when we try to repress the sexual impulse. So or when we are throwing it away, as in the traditional Chinese medicine says, that we men get old according to the number of ejaculations that we have during all our lives. So if we keep ejaculating in order to have orgasms, we are depleting this energy to the ground, or
depleting. Yeah, because we talk about this in length in the course, but it's more than anything because that's where the men have their vital force. That's how, if they would ejaculate in a woman, that would get them pregnant. But the women, on the other hand, just as a small parenthesis, is not the same. The women's ejaculation does not have their
life force.
they don't lose their life force, so we can ejaculate as many times as we want, have as many orgasms as we want, and we're not losing our life force, but the men are. So it's a completely different but anyway, yeah, more about that in the course. But
because some people they may try to treat the same female and male ejaculation, and it's not the same at all. We have amazing amounts of life force in one ejaculation. It goes at least 300 million sperms that can populate a whole continent. So it's a lot of power there. And women can be ejaculated all night long and then charge themselves with this beautiful energy and experience also rejuvenation. But for men, for us, it's completely the opposite. So the serpent, when reaches the heart, is like this serpent that climbs to the highest level that can reach, which is represented by the mountain. The mountain is representing the heaven on earth. So, so the eagle or the condor or the whatever the phoenix, these birds represent what comes from heaven, which is the energy that is above our heads. In some traditions, they call it as the eighth chakra. This eighth chakra, it's like the light that puts to the saints in all the representations of the saints is the
little, yeah, I forgot the name, but yes, the little saint ring, the aurora.
Aureola, it's in Spanish.
Yeah.
Well, however, this energy is like it's represented by the eagle, especially here in Mexico, no? And then the eagle feels attraction to the serpent, and then comes down and pick up the serpent, which is when the spirit comes down to collect the sexual energy, because it is mixed with love. So this combination of a sexual arousal, love for ourselves in order to share it with someone, and the connection with something that is beyond our minds, beyond our senses, because it's the power that created us, create all things on nature, that comes from universe that we don't even know from which dimension comes from, but we call it spirit. That energy that has this charge of spiritual energy, when it's combined with love and sexual arousal, well, that drives to the states of ecstasy, which is the main purpose of using this sexual energy to transform ourselves. That's why we always talk about the alchemy process, which what is an alchemic process is something is the way of transforming an element that could be of certain quality, to transform it into another element that it's considered on a higher frequency or a more refined quality. So that's why we talk about the refining the seminal power and the ovarian power. And I must say that any culture in the world has these objectives as clear as the Taoist. They have more than 5,000 treatises that speak about this. Most of them has not been translated.
What you mean is no other culture has it as clear as the Taoist culture.
So that's why if you practice, for example, Tantra yoga, which is most popular, that has very beautiful exercises that connect they have the intention of connecting the souls of the lovers, but with this inner structure, of course, they will obtain better benefits, results for themselves and for the relation.
So this, for those who are, watching this video and like want to know a little bit more about the course, obviously we have all of that information on the webpage, but just briefly to mention that like it is the equivalent of levels 1 and 2 in the traditional way of giving this workshop. Usually there are 3 levels. The first level is usually for the Tao of men. The second level is usually for the Tao of women and couples and all the secrets there. because they both have different different training mechanisms. Since we are so opposite, we have our specific exercises that help the one and then that help the other, and then some that help the both of us as a couple. And so, but this workshop is equivalent to level 1 and 2. Level 3
Yes.
is different. It's another thing. We don't have it online yet. We have it just coming into, in a live workshop. But level 1 and 2, we have it in English and in Spanish. It has 12 modules. It is roughly like 2 hours per module, and like all the exercises and homework and movies and recommendations and everything. So it's about 24 hours of pre-recorded material, which each one is free to see in their own time and pace. But we suggest that one module a week is good. We have bi-weekly meetings, which are for questions, answers, doubts, correcting postures on the exercises, just anything that comes to the student's mind.
Because the real questions may appear when they started to practice, and the people that can start feeling changes in their lives because they are using a different, we could say, a brain net, another different brain net each time we get sexually aroused.
A neural network.
Yes, this brain network will be changed. Everything in our lives, because you can reach these states of mind that we can connect with this power that is beyond our understanding. That's why even Lao Tse used to say that the Tao that we can speak about is not the Tao. because usually in this culture we have to try to understand with our left side of the brain. So because trying to understand things that are rational, but these experiences are not rational. These experiences are coming from the state of mind where there is no thoughts, but perception. So we call it here in the Toltec tradition the second attention, while when the first attention is called when we use our understanding properly as rational and logical aspects, but these experiences are not logical. They are beyond the understanding of any thoughts, but they are sensations. They are these states of perception that expands, and then we can experience what we call some instance of eternity, thanks to this inner structure that transform our lives. Once a person has this type of experiences, nothing will be the same after that. It will affect all aspects of life, because sexuality and life, as we say in the Tao, they have no difference. Are
One
the
and
same.
the same. One and the same.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a little brief context about what this workshop is about. Obviously, there's also whoever is going to become a student is also added to an international group. There's a lot of people in all over the world, in Europe, in the Americas, in different places of the world, speaking English and Spanish and French. Actually, we have a French group too. And so, there's a large community of people, which is beautiful, because they have all done this workshop, and they are all, wanting to cultivate their consciousness in the sexual realm. And so it's beautiful to be connected to a community, to a tribe of people, even though it's virtually. But then, of course, there's always the chance to connect physically on one of the retreats or workshops happening in one of the places wherever we go. And throughout the years, we have had like beautiful encounters of these people. Like they've really become, we've all become family. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, so
very
that's
beautiful.
something important that comes out of these workshops, other than the training, of course.
Yes, and this aspect, I feel it's so important that this community of people that has this vision of the sacredness of the sexuality, and it's not just the sexuality, but the affection and the connection with something that is beyond ourselves. To have this community is such a beautiful thing, because most people usually they don't have this connection. They can, for some reason, they don't make the connection between the sexual pleasure and the mystical and spiritual experience. And thanks to these teachings, thanks to Grandmaster Manta Chia, which has share with all the world this knowledge, which I'm so grateful. And I have to mention that these hours of teaching, they have a recognition under the Universal Healing Tao system. So in order for some people that may want or feel that they can become instructors, they can do it thanks to
Validated.
this.
Yeah, these
To this,
hours of this online workshop is validated.
yes.
So it's accountable, it's accounted for. So if, you know, if one person signs up to this course, that person is accredited for. If that person sees it, shares this information, these online videos with their partner is not accredited for, although obviously they can see the videos because of course it's online. So, you know, but if the partner also wants accreditation, they will have to buy their own course. We do have couples prices, like special prices for couples,
Discount.
but both of them need to be registered in order to receive the accreditation. So that's just something I wanted to clear up, because something that comes out as a frequently asked question. And yeah, so if, you know, if there is anyone interested or knows that anybody is interested in improving like their sexual knowledge, their sexual understanding, because as we said in the beginning, there's also a culture, a very dysfunctional culture, which means we have a very, you know, there's a lot of sexual dysfunctions, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of you know,
Performance anxiety is one of the most common causes of this dysfunctions.
performance anxiety, and also what we call like immature ejaculation, so premature
Ejaculation.
ejaculation. So and
With that,
anorgasmia and a lot of different things. And so you know, and also during a relationship that has been together for so many years, sometimes, you know, they lose the fire, they lose the passion, they lose the, you know, their ability to connect erotically. They become more like roommates, and some people want to rekindle their relationship, spark it up a little bit, and go into something like deeper, yes, erotic, but also deeper and more, how do we say, like professional, in the sense where it's not kinky necessarily, it's not fun, you know, it's not one of those fun, kinky, let's get naked workshops. It's more, it's a serious, it's a more serious formation. It's a training, and there are no, I mean, it's not that kind of training here. It's a more, yeah.
yeah, because some people may some people ask, are we going to get naked? No, of course not. Even in the retreats, when we make these retreats of practices, the practices are of Qigong, this ancient art of breathing and transforming the energy within ourselves and in couple. But no, it does not require any of those. things is more focused on the inner structure. That's the jewel of the Taoist. That's one of the things that I love about the Taoism, because as we mentioned before, any culture in the planet has this inner structure as clear as the Taoist, as much as I
It's
say. As
very
I
pragmatic. It's very according to the exercises done, the breathing, the structure, the visualizations. That's what we call inner structure. It's the same way that Chinese medicine and acupuncture is so precise. It's full of precision. Like, it's not this acupuncture point, it's this one. It's like, it's so precise. So it's the Taoism is also from ancient China. So in the same way that Chinese medicine is known for being so precise, the sexual arts and the sexual cultivation exercises are also known to be really about precision and visualization and meticulous understanding of how the energy in the body works, so that when the time comes that one is trying to cultivate their sexuality and cultivate their seminal power or their ovaric power in order to achieve these states of heightened sexual pleasure over long periods of time, or multi-orgasms, or both. There is like a specific way to do that, and because otherwise it's so easy to just give into the pleasure, and then what ends up happening is that the man ejaculates and sex is over, basically. I mean, in that sense. So it is a very precise training. It's like driving a car. What we say is like it's like driving a car. And in the beginning you have to like learn how to put clutch and then the foot and then the pedal, but then let go. And so in the beginning it's just like, all these steps, wait a minute, what is it? But with practice, with enough practice and discipline and just really doing the exercises, sooner or later the body, the mind, the brain starts to open new pathways, and it starts to become easier and easier. And then eventually the energy that you're trying to direct with all of these commands and visualizations like start to flow. I live in nature, and in nature it's very similar. I love to see this example in nature, because like when you arrive in nature in the middle of nowhere, it's hard to find the path. When you find the pathway, like a footpath, that means that a lot of people during a long period of time have walked this path, and therefore no plants grow in this path. If there's a small path and not many people walk on it, with a few rains and some time, the plants will close the path and you won't see the path anymore. But if it remains as a path and people are walking and walking and walking on it all the time, the path stays open. And it's the same thing with the brain. And so at the beginning there, we don't have this neural network, new path created, but like with the discipline and the practice and the practice and the practice and the practice, the path gets open, and then it becomes easier and easier to do these. And then it's like driving a car. You just, you don't have to think about like putting the clutch and everything. So anyway, that's part of the Taoist training, which is very important to do. It's not just taking a course and being like, binging on courses and then not practicing, because that doesn't give that won't give you the experience of being a multi-orgasmic lover, neither yourself, neither you to your partner. And so that's not what this is about. This is about really a training, and we have been doing it at least together. You've been doing it for like 40 years. Me, I've been working with you just for like 10 or 11 years. And so there's been a lot of people on our path that we have crossed and have done this training, and has changed their lives. And so we decided to make this online workshop for people who maybe are not in Mexico, or not in the places we usually visit, and can have access to the information. And
Yes,
So
and to do it in English, so for people that have problems with Spanish or whatever, then we can share this information in this language, and to open to this community of multi-orgasmic people, which is a very beautiful thing, because it is associated also with this connection with the spiritual way, as we call, to help us to remember the sacred way of walking upon this earth, and seeing that everything is sacred, especially the sexual energy, which is considered the bridge between the spirit and the matter. So that's how we all are here, thanks to this magical energy, which is the energy of pleasure. So when we learn how to transform this pleasure in such a way that it becomes so intense that it's no longer more sexual pleasure, but a mystical, how to say, gozo. It's
divine, yeah, enjoyment of energy. Enjoyment.
Is the word.
Yeah, it makes it brings it down from like a physical led sexual genitalized experience. It brings it up into the heart and then into the spiritual center, and it really does mystify or make mystical the experience, like those experiences which you can't really describe. When somebody has one of those mystical experiences, encounters with God, and you can't describe it other than, I just had a mystical one of those that you can't explain. That's the kind.
Very hard to speak about them, but what we can do is to share with the people this form of introduction to these experiences. But actually, when they have the actual experience, it's when we say that the Tao receives you, the Tao embraces you, and transform your life. So we are sharing this information with a lot of people in the world, and also to prepare these practices, prepare people for one of the most amazing experiences, which is the dark room retreat, to have the ability to stay in darkness we call it the darkness room technology, but it's in a small hotel, which has the conditions of without any light and sound, so we can release this we can say the DMT, the dimethyltryptamine substance, what it's called, some people call it the molecule of God. So to see where we come from, this dimension of the spirit, where we come from and where we are going to return. So when people learn how to transform themselves thanks to this inner structure, then they can get into this experience, which is one of the most amazing experiences that a human being can experience. So
let us know if you're interested in taking the course. The first 3 people that come to us, we are saying that we're going to give them a 50% discount. Otherwise, we have a promotion until the end of this month, October, 20% discount. But if you are like one of the first 3 people that like contact us, you can have a 50% discount. And so yeah, we'll post all the links and everything in our text, and we hope to see you on our online training. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And
thank you so much. Have a good afternoon, good evening. Nice talking to you, Jerónimo.
Nice talking to you. Thank you, everybody that came to this. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.